Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at, to be honest with you, we're going to be taking a look at the Beast Gohan stage and how to beat it in 12 turns. Now, I think a lot of people find, at least me, okay, and I say lots of people, definitely me, I think other people find that the Gohan stage is not as hard as the Gogeta. I don't know if that's a controversial take. I definitely find Gogeta harder than Gohan. Maybe that's just because of my units, maybe that's just because how the event's designed. It's going to be different for everyone because it depends on your box. But generally speaking, I think Gohan's a lot easier because it's, although a tough event, it's physical AGL than physical. So although the AGL stage is tough, strength units can get through it, and then once the strength units are through, then they generally handle the third physical phase quite well. So I think that's kind of where I'm getting my feeling regarding this event, and I think as long as you can do that, you'll find that a lot of the times your units will have a pretty good time. Now of course, doesn't mean that everything is super easy. It is still definitely a tough event. I think players are definitely realizing that, but I don't think, I see a lot of people complain about the power creep. I don't have Gohan. I also don't have Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. I'm not using Broly here, and I'm not using Movie Gogeta here. I am using very powerful units, but I am not using the brand new units. But I don't think the power creep is as wild as people made it. I mean, it is big, but I think it's still manageable. And I think especially with the strength of some really solid standout performers like Future Gohan, who I think is an absolute machine for this fight, I think players are generally quite okay. Now, why I like this Future Saga team so much for this event is because, like I said, it's not the longest event. Okay, it's not the longest event. It is, 3 phases, 2 phases, the same typing. And where I really like this event is, Zamasu and Zamasu are good defensively, but Tech Zamasu helps a ton in this AGL phase with getting rid of Gohan, and we don't have a lot of key-based supers on this team. So the second phase is a bit of a mixed bag, largely due to the mix of the ability of Gohan to absorb your key based supers, or deflect them, I should say, nullify them, and of course the fact that he does get a little bit tankier and can still hit pretty hard in this AGL phase. So you end up in a situation where you are now balancing how to build the team. Do you build the team for just the final phase? You need to have enough gas and juice to get through the second phase, and the Future Saga team does that well. Look, the final phase is also challenging. Remember, Gohan reduces damage below 1 million to nothing. So to give an example, he's talking the raw damage after defensive calculation. So if a unit does like a 7 million attack stat but doesn't crit, they're not going to do damage to Gohan. That's kind of where we're dealing with, and that makes it tough. It makes it very challenging for a lot of units, especially if you look at like Future Trunks. You'll see clips in this very video of Future Trunks. You'll see clips of him doing multiple super attacks, and you'll see clips of him doing a lot of damage and then no damage, because when he doesn't crit, he doesn't do a lot of damage. When he does crit, he's starting to do damage, and the multiple super attacks really kick in, and then it feels a lot better. So that's a difficult balancing act, I think, for a lot of teams, especially when you are trying to do 12 turns. Now 12 turns in terms of speed, I don't actually find that tight. I think there's a lot of teams that can probably do this in 12 turns, especially if you've got like any of the most recent EZAs. MUI Goku does huge damage. We're talking 19, 20 million. UI Goku Sign does huge damage, 19, 20 million. Vegeta powerful comeback Vegeta also does huge damage. So yeah, realistically speaking, I don't think there's a huge surprise with the ability to get 12 done. Like, 12 turns I just don't think is impossible. What I do think is tough is surviving the actual fight to do the damage. So that's where you can struggle. Now the key to this is to just have a team that survives with a Whis or an Icarus or whatever it is. Don't care about the locking, just make sure that almost every unit, if a Whis is active, will survive. Not survive well, don't have to tank double digits, but survive. And as long as that happens, you should be good to go. You won't need to move your units. Yes, you will have units get stunned. Like here, you're going to see Future Gohan get stunned. Do I want him stunned? Of course not. I don't want him stunned, because if he's stunned, then obviously, I'm going to lose his offense, and that's really terrible. But the thing is, Gohan attacks the first slot a lot. I think his attack rate for the first slot is like 80%. So you almost have to forfeit whatever unit's there. So just get them out your mind. Yeah, you see their Trunks 0 damage. Get that out your mind. Give up with it. Just put it away. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just, put it to the side. The rest of the units need to make up for that unit that gets stunned. Because I think for the first 3 turns, Gohan is going to attack that first slot, and unless you dodge, which is also fine, like, UI sign, MUI, they might dodge, and then it's, a different story. I think also it's not a guaranteed stun, although I can be wrong. But, yeah, obviously that's a different story. But, yeah, generally speaking, like, you're going to be heavily reliant on the other units catching up the damage. So sacrifice the units you need to sacrifice. If you can shift them if they're not locked. Oh, that's also something Gohan does. He locks you in place. But generally speaking, you should be fine. I think for me personally, I find that all in all, between the locking and I can be someone that's gotten incredibly lucky across I think I've done 4 of the category challenges, although I haven't posted the videos just yet. I'm still doing the voiceovers. But I think in a lot of my runs, I also could have gotten lucky. There are people that have gotten incredibly unlucky with some of these runs, which is completely understandable. But I think, the thing is, ultimately, you have to a certain extent, accept that there is this big RNG factor that also inflates the difficulty. Like, the raw numbers going up is one thing, but it's more the RNG, I think, or the slot 1 supering and stuff, that I think gets a lot of players down. More so than the actual raw numbers. Because I think if it was just the numbers increase, most players have units, especially after summoning during the anniversary. But I think a lot of units from even the WWC onwards, you can see here, I'm using WWC units. They can handle this event. I know it surprises a lot of people, but they actually can. Vegito, gonna tank perfectly fine here. Absolute menace. Really, really strong as well. And yeah, that's the thing. So it's really not impossible, I think, to use all the units. But you are going to need probably a dupe or 2, but you need more of the RNG to fall in your favor. When you've got Beast Gohan, and he can just sit in the first slot or the second slot or the third slot, and you can use his taunt or his intercept, and you can save yourself some time and pain, then yeah, of course, 100%, he's really, really, really good. When you are using, when you're using AGL Vegito, you need a little bit more luck than that. But I think overall, the team did very well. So yeah, obviously team, as you should have probably noticed by now, but it's Future Gohan and Trunks 1 rotation, Zamasu other rotation, floating AGL Vegito, floating physical Goku Rose. And you could replace physical Goku Rose with pretty much anyone. The only reason I take physical Goku Rose is because obviously he gains damage reduction depending on how many super bosses on the team. And if he gets locked to first slot and we activate a Whis, he does have a chance to survive depending on how lucky he gets. So that's kind of why I bring him over the super easy aid Goku Black. But I mean, it depends how much you want to test the fate with the locking. But generally speaking, yeah, I think overall you could probably bring either of them and find, you know, success, realistically speaking. There's probably also other units you could bring as well. I think AGL Trunks and Mai are also actually a good choice. They don't gain so many buffs because they're not facing extreme units or Zamasu and stuff like that. But they're also defensively sound to a certain extent, especially with a Whis active, because of the fact that they get damage reduction. So, yeah, it's definitely something that's yeah, achievable, acceptable, you know, whichever way you want to put it. But I think for me, the 12 turns largely just comes down to Future Gohan. So Future Gohan, as you can see, you know, doing huge volumes of our damage. Massive volumes of our damage. I think Tech Zamasu probably does the second most damage, but really it's Future Gohan. You know, just doing his thing. Here you're going to see Trunks. Look, when he crits, really good damage. Like there you can see excellent damage, finish them off. But when he doesn't, yeah, it's a lot harder. But yeah, either way, still a good team, fun run. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it from me. Bye.